while I really have no clue where I'm going, it's just basically I'm just following my own inner flow, which is something I've done my whole life. I'm still here on market and I'm back again apparently. I wanted to show you this very cool building. Isn't that awesome? Actually, I should go back a little further. Yeah, it's funny, I'm hungry, but then again, I'm okay. I'm going to eat something later. I've really, I hope I'm going to be okay. My stomach and my whole, time will tell. Time will tell. It's funny because I'm so preoccupied with those things. Because it's so, which reminds me of 9/11 when I see a plane right now here in the city. It's like, wow, man, oh man, oh man. Anyway, I'm so into that, into this program, into, when I record something. Because I'm there, I'm in the moment. I'm right here, right now. Well, that would be right here, right now. But again, holding the camera. So, hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here. Let me turn the camera around again. So over there is the ferry building, where I many times to see my children in Vallejo. I took the ferry. For those of you who don't know, I have 3 children who I have not lived with in more than 7 years now. They're here in Vallejo in foster care. Right now they're visiting their mom in Kansas, who, she is, how can I say, I guess emotionally a little bit challenged. Very explosive behavior, uncontrollably rages sometimes, and she was analyzed with bipolar. So, wow. They went on for 12 years this marriage, so you can understand how my children have suffered. Well, of course I have gone through a lot of suffering myself, especially, I was punished after the marriage, getting into this car accident, quote unquote. But I don't mean to bore you with that. I wish I could play in some music while I'll do these recordings. You can always put on the volume on mute if it bothers you. But we'll all learn. Life is learning, right? This is quite the amazing building. Wow, look at the man, oh man, oh man. And this here. Yeah, I remember walking here. Wow, I was staying over there. That's where 6th and Bryant. It's actually 6th Street. This is 2nd Street over there. All the way over there, this way, in the shelter. So I was walking around here. I remember. Wow, nowhere to go, which is really interesting. I mean, the life on the street is, well, when you are homeless, quote unquote. The interesting thing is, that's one of my cars. Oh, I like a Porsche. Very nice. When you live on the street, when you're home, because everybody knows you, it's kind of like in Cheers. I was thinking about, where everybody knows your name. People know one another. And people, that's the home. But when you're during the day, you're kicked out of that home, you have no particular place to go. So it changes your whole relationship towards time, right? Because usually, like I myself, when I was married, I had a 9-to-5 job like I have right now. And at night I came home and, did my usual arguing with my wife at the time and trying to take care of my children and being on the computer a little bit and doing my thing and then going back to work in the morning. So I didn't have time for anything really. But then when I became homeless, got hit by this car, everything changed. Even though it was like terrible, it changed my life in an amazing, weird, strange way. It really allowed me to have time. And also the thing is, after the marriage, basically was the first time I was really able to be with people. Before that I had no friends really. I mean, during my marriage I lived pretty isolated in Kansas during the time of my marriage. And even before in Germany, I mean, again, that was Germany. But even then, I didn't really have any friends. Lived very isolated. So this was a whole new beginning for me. And when I came to the streets, people told me their story, right? And of course I would listen. And it was highly interesting. And now I'm really at this point, I walk through the streets, I talk, I do these recordings. People look at me, I can go up to anybody and interview them and talk to them. I've developed that kind of personality. And that's pretty interesting, Also my ex-wife's personality, she was very outgoing, a people person, everybody loved her. Kind of always the center of attention wherever she went. It kind of rubbed off on me. Now she's very withdrawn, sad to say, kind of bitter. Doesn't laugh as much as she used to. Is not really out there anymore doing her thing and being the center of attention. She used to be a performing artist. And so this, she has lost that, and it seems like it has rubbed off on me. So I used to be, again, a very withdrawn person, kind of shy. When I first came to America, I remember not only going to reunions where I met hundreds of her relatives. I'm talking about the year 1991 when I came over to America. And shortly after, the first job I worked in was in manufacturing at a factory where they produced plastic bowls. Paper plastic? No, plastic. I forgot the name now. And I worked there for, I guess, 3 months, and then I was offered a job at Sallie Mae, where I basically stayed in this company, in this building for 10 years, the whole duration of my marriage. And the great thing about that job was we could use headphones. And so this was totally amazing to me. This was no job, no work. I had to do data entry. I could do it, in my sleep almost. But we could listen to radio. And so, I just came over from Germany, you have to understand, right? So it was all extremely new to me, new language, new culture. So I listened to radio programs, shows, political shows, religious shows, whatever it is. Laura Schlesinger was a great influence, I remember. She totally was like, wow, I want to do that. And then I stumbled across personal growth after I, started checking out tapes from the library, books on tape. And so during the day, that's all I did. I was basically reading while working. I was listening to it, and so I came across the concept of personal development, which in Germany we are not familiar with really. It was totally new. The idea of working on yourself, whatever. The Germans are more like, we do what is required of us. They're very much into precision and following orders and all this stuff. With me, my whole life as a free thinker, you can understand the problems that open up for me. Anyway, when I then stumbled across personal growth and heard about this concept, it opened my horizon and opened my eyes, right away. Especially, I came home at night and I was fighting with my wife at the time. In a bad way. My buttons were triggered. My anger was triggered in uncontrollable ways. And so when I learned about personal development, and when I started listening to these concepts, I really started to think about my own behavior. And I realized that I had the power to change that. But it was very, very difficult to put that into practice because I was so into the mode of changing the person I was with, because her behavior was so impossible for me to deal with. It was so irritating. I had no peace whatsoever. But she was always in my face. And I always had to wait on her. She was, in this regard, an impossible person to deal with. When I first got married to her, everybody, all her relatives were like, I can't believe it, Eunice Starworth getting married. Who is this guy she's going to get married to? And I kind of stumbled into the whole thing when I met her in Germany after she got robbed, and wow. Anyway, I guess my point was that it was all put together perfectly by life, if you think about that. And because this was a time during my greatest distress, my demons definitely were released. My anger, in front of my children, and I didn't control that. I almost couldn't control it. I guess I could have if I wanted to, but anyway, I didn't. And so it was bad. It was bad for a long time. And her presence in my life really triggered many, many bad things. And why we stayed married for so long? Well, I was a boy when I left Germany. I was dependent on her when I came over, became integrated into her family. And so I was scared. I really was scared. I had nobody else to turn to. Nobody. Everybody I turned to, because everybody I turned to knew my wife. And they loved her and her family. They go way back. And so everybody was backing up, of course, my wife and saying, oh, just go to counseling and work it out. And of course now she is was my responsibility, which some, especially her brothers and sisters, really liked in the family, because my ex-wife, she was somewhat of a black sheep in the family, no pun intended. Because she was very much an outgoing person, a free thinker. She did her own thing. She got a lot of attention, and the rest of the family were more reserved. So when problems started in the marriage, everybody turned their back basically and said, Christoph, you have to deal with that. And so I was totally left alone with the situation, and I didn't know what to do for the longest time. And so personal development helped me. It took me years and years and years to put it into practice, but really I came to understand that I myself have the power to make a change. And I hope you realize the same thing for yourself, whatever it is you want to change. And so, I guess concludes this broadcasting right now. Thanks again for being here. And I'm going to turn this thing off and get myself something to eat. I'll be back maybe tomorrow. I don't think tonight because it's going to be dark soon. So. Thank you very much. Have a great day tomorrow. Or actually, well, tomorrow is today because I will be uploading it tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for being here with me now. And I'm looking forward to be speaking to you whenever the time is right. It'll be nice to hear from you. Thank you, and I hope you're well. Bye-bye.